Last week I picked up a Ruger Mark III 2245 pistol, and these are great little pistols. They are easy to modify, lots of things you can do to them. The first thing I wanted to do was put on a Picatinny rail so that I could put on a red dot. I picked up a Volquartsen mount, and unfortunately I missed it in the description. It does not fit with the rear sight in place, and I did not feel like taking off the rear sight, so I was disappointed, thought I was going to have to return it, and then decided to make some modifications. So I lined up the mount with the top of the pistol, and it looked like if I removed the rear 3 bars, everything should mount properly on the pistol. I sacrificed some of the length, but I'm able to keep my mount on, my rear sight on, which, although I'll probably never use again, it's there if I wanted. So here I made the cut. It's just aluminum, cuts very easily with a hacksaw, and there we have it, and now we're gonna go see what it looks like. So here's the end of the cut. I sanded it down to smooth it off and get rid of any burrs. Of course, now I have this silver color, which I didn't like. I had no flat black paint with me, but what I ended up using was, well, the suspense is over. What I used was a black laundry marker. I figure it's not in a high wear area, so wear should be minimal anyway. It's all cosmetics. I could always paint it later if I so desired, but I simply coated it with a black laundry marker, and there we have the finished product. Now here's a top shot of the full mount. It clears the rear sight. It is on the high side, so with it in place, it would be hard to use the rear sight anyway. The whole mount would have to come off, but for the time being, unless I feel like changing the rail, it'll do. I doubt I will opt for the iron sight anyway. But it clears the sight. There's no wear line there. There's no rub at all. And although it's a little shortened, it looks fine, and we'll give you a close-up in a second. And the close-up, it's a nice, neat fit. Everything's looking nice. I used a little Loctite, the removable type, on the screws to keep them in place. And now we'll move on to the side views with the scope on mount. And the side view of the left-hand side of the gun. Everything looks nice, everything's lined up, and it's good to go. And a shot of the left side with the red dot in place. There too, I used a little removable Loctite on the screw mounts, and everything looks like it's going to clear and work nicely. And on the right side, the scallop for the ejection port still lines up properly. There was no reason why it shouldn't, but hey, you never know. So the right side looks fine. Everything looks good. There's the scope, and we'll finish up with a long shot of the right side. And here's the long shot of the right side. Everything's in place, and it's good to go. It's neat, clean. Everything worked fine. And I was able to save a couple bucks by getting a somewhat cheaper mount. So if you hit this snag, this may be a way you want to consider of getting around it.